mga nagpoprotesta, yung mga anti-EJK, dyan po sa luneta ng mga 4 ng hapon. Dyan daw magko-converge mula sa iba't ibang parte ng kanilang pagrarally ngayon. Kasama pa rin natin sa studio si dating Senate President at Defense Secretary Juan Ponce Enrile. Si Sir JP Ihon maloko kanina. Hindi ko alam kung sasabihin niya on air. Ano ba yung iyong palagay sa National Day of Protest?
Ako nga, itong araw nito, walang pasok. Ano? Pag may fiesta, walang pasok. Kaya kako, ang aking paningin din na itong araw na ito, araw ng fiesta.
National Day of
Fiesta na rin, di ba?
Fiesta na rin. But how do you feel, sir, when you see all these rallies? Yung iba po,
well, actually, this is democracy in action. The Constitution, ang saligang batas natin, naglalalawan ng provision tungkol sa martial law, meron din sinasabi doon na pinapayagan ang peaceful assembly, di ba? As a part of democracy. Ngayon, yun namang martial law is a part of the police power of the state to control rampages or vandalism or any kind of serious disturbance in the society in order that that society will survive.
But what do you say doon po sa mga, kapag kasi nababanggit po ang mga tagang martial law, ay trauma po ang kanilang nararamdaman dahil sa nangyari in the
alam
past,
mo,
sir?
Pardon me for saying this, yung mga may binabalak na gagawin upang magkaroon ng kapangyarihan, ay natatakot dyan talaga. Because ang karamihan na rason nitong mga movement na ganito, kahit na sa Pilipinas, sa China, sa Russia, o anumang lipunan, ay pagkapangyarihan eh. They want power. And they do not want anything to impede the grabbing of that power.
But isn't it to some, martial law reminds them of torture, desaparecidos, hindi ho ba?
Ano?
Sa iba po, kapag naririnig po ang martial law, ang kanilang naaalala ay torture. Pagkakawap pa yung
sino bang na-torture?
Mawala po yung kanilang mga mahal sa buhay.
I know some of the people. I'm not saying na wala yan. But I challenge, name the people. And I will tell you the history of each one.
Okay.
Those who disappeared.
Desaparecidos, sir.
Who are they? The son of Justice Yap. And maybe you can count in your hands. But they say 70,000 people suffered or whatever they said.
During martial law?
They included those people who were arrested for curfew violation, for jaywalking.
Yung mga almost what is called to be petty crimes.
Na marahas. I'm not saying na walang abuses, ha? There were always abuses, even without martial law. Pero, bakit buhay hanggang ngayon si Mr. and Mrs. Season? Ano ang ngalan Season?
Are you talking about Joma Season,
Joma
sir?
Season. Si, Paeng Bailosis, Brad ko pa yun.
Okay.
Si Bilog, patay na si Commander Dante he died of sickness. Si Salas, so yung mga naging supremo, hawak lahat namin yun, pati si Etchanis.
In other words, sir, you really do not...
In fact, I kept Etchanis in my office and his wife for I think a year or two.
So you do not see anything wrong with martial law?
Any exercise of power has glitches, may abuses. You cannot control people. You cannot hurt them. Even now, that's what's happening in the campaign against drugs. There are people with different agenda, egged by different interests to commit things. What if the left or some other ideologies have people who will commit these rampages in order to hurt the administration? I'm not saying that that is a fact, but that is a possibility.
Okay, so if we talk about illegal
or political groups who would want to weaken
Sir JP, yan ang gusto ko puntahan. I want to go there because ito pong sinasabi ng, war on drugs. Yung war on drugs po ni Pangulo, the President already said that this is sabotage. As in fact, even Speaker Alvarez was saying that posibleng sabotahe daw ho ito dahil posibleng ang may pakana nito, yung gustong magpatalsik daw sa administrasyon or yung mga drug lords themselves. What are your thoughts on this, sir?
Or people who entertain certain ideologies contrary to what we have now. It's possible. Everything is possible in a society, especially in an open society like the Philippines. No?
Okay, that is a fact. Everything is possible, sir. Pero what are your thoughts on the President's war on drugs?
I think he is enforcing the law. The people who are using drugs and those who are disseminating drugs are criminals. They are violating the law. I'm not saying morally depraved, but they are criminals in the sense that they have violated the policy of the state, which was provided with penalties.
But what about yung pong sinisigaw naman ng kabilang grupo that it's a violation of human rights, sir?
Then if there is a violation of human rights, I suggest to the commissioners of human rights, of this Human Rights Commission, do your job. Investigate these violations and challenge them in the courts. That is your duty, your constitutional obligation.
You know, I was going to ask you about that because there's this argument, ano ho ba talaga ang tunay na mandato ng Commission on Human Rights?
Well,
because
why was that the commission introduced in the present constitution? That is the handiwork of some people who espouse a different way of life from us.
But what is the mandate? What is the mandate, sir, for you of the Commission on Human Rights? Ano ho ba ang
To
kanilang
enforce the
mandato?
Bill of Rights. And
To
one of those is the presumption of innocence. There are so many people languishing in jail who are presumed to be innocent, but yet they are in prison. But the Commission has not bothered to check the conditions.
So it's really the violation of the rights of every Filipino.
Of course,
whether
of
guilty.
every human, not only Filipinos, of every human being in our society who are supposed to believe in that value.
But why are they? There is also that argument, sir, that the Commission on Human Rights is there to look into the violations committed by the state.
Normally, it is the state that can abuse its power. But there are also other organizations or groupings or interests in the society that violates the interests of other people. I'm going now into another area of the Hobbesian condition of society, no? Oh.
So paano ho yun? Ano ho ba talaga ang para po sa inyo?
Tanungin ninyo si Chito Gaston. Sigurado alam niya yan eh.
I did, sir. I did ask him.
He should know his role in the society.
So you do not believe that they're just supposed to look into the human rights violations caused by state agents? Hindi ho kayo naniniwala?
What is the violation of the government? Are we engaged in ethnic cleansing? Like the Mbunda and the MV Bunda in Angola? Huh?
Okay. So yung binigyan po ng 1,000 na budget na naibalik naman po, no? What did you think of that when initially the House of Representatives?
That is just a statement by Congress of their displeasure. No, that's given. That is not new. That has been done before. But constitutionally, they cannot do it because there's a constitutional mandate for the Human Rights Commission to exist, and they must provide the wherewithal for that institution to operate.
Okay.
Otherwise, they'll be committing an unconstitutional act.
You know, I wanted to kind of just go back, JPE, to the martial law, our topic on martial law, because martial law is still in effect.
I tell you, the martial law powers of President Marcos was pervasive, absolute. That is the doctrine at that time in Barcelona versus Baker. I repeat, Barcelona versus Baker. Even the Supreme Court could not interfere. That is still the rule in other democratic societies. That absolute power of the state to control its survival and order, peace and order.
Declaration of martial law. But what about the declaration of martial law in Mindanao? Should that stay, or is it time to lift that?
Oh, I support the president in that. It has been long in coming. He should have done it earlier.
So it should stay hanggang ngayon po. There's no point in lifting it yet.
Imagine if you do not do that in Mindanao, how can you enforce the law? How can you control the situation? You had a fire. You have to use your water in order to put out that fire. Imagine it has taken them so long until now. There are bullets flying around.
So
President Gloria did the same thing in Maguindanao in order to control the situation in Maguindanao. But we lifted it. I was president of the Senate at the time as Speaker Nograles was the Speaker of the House.
That's right. And even before Congress could look into the declaration then of President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, it was lifted already.
In the case of the present Constitution, the martial law is very limited. It has many constraints. Declaration of martial law will not carry with it the suspension of the right to bail or the suspension of the privilege of the writ of habeas corpus, nor can the president close Congress, and the courts are open, and everybody can yak in public as far as their voices can reach. What kind of martial law is that? Why should you fear that kind of martial law?
So,
in Mindanao, people are free to go around, the peaceful people, but the criminal elements are afraid because they have something to be afraid of.
You are in full support, of course, of the President's declaration of martial law in Mindanao. What factors would constitute President Rodrigo Duterte to declare martial law, for example, in the whole Philippines?
That is only addressed to one person in this country, and that is the President. You cannot question his perception and judgment in that and his decision. Only the courts can counterbalance him if in a proper case.
And even Congress, of course.
No, he has a window of 60 days.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Congress can say, enough, or go ahead.
Or cases can be filed before the Supreme Court. All right. Also, very recently, of course, sir, is that Senator Jinggoy Estrada out on bail.
We're not talking of martial law anymore.
We're not talking about martial law. This is another topic. Jinggoy Estrada out on bail, the former senator. Kayo po ang nauna. It's been 2 years, no? Has it been 2 years?
You know, Pinky, my position as a lawyer and as a citizen is that all crimes in this country is bailable except in cases where the penalty is reclusion perpetua. We do not have death penalty. When the evidence of guilt is strong. Now, even if you are charged with a crime that carries a penalty of reclusion perpetua, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the human right of every Filipino says, or any human being in this republic, you are supposed to be presumed innocent.
Until proven otherwise.
Now, if you are innocent, you have no obligation to prove that you are innocent while you are under charge. It is the duty of the government to prove the strength of its evidence to convict you beyond reasonable doubt. And yet, they imprison you without the government doing its obligation to prove the strength and heaviness of its evidence to convict you beyond reasonable doubt.
What really it is the burden should really be with the prosecution, and it's really supposed to be
should be against on the government, not on the accused.
Yeah, that's why the burden of proof lies with the prosecution.
Innocent.
Yeah. So obviously a lot of support there. What are your thoughts on the possibility of former Senator Bong Revilla also?
Well, I will not discuss that as a lawyer. It depends upon the perception of the judges. I will not superimpose my judgment.
Why not?
No, I'm bound by the ethics of my profession not to discuss a case in court, and I myself am under charge.
Yeah, still. Okay, I guess you won't answer my question on Janet Lim Napoles either if I ask that. Of a possibility of bail for her.
No, I will not.
Former Senate President...
Who is that anyway? I don't know her. I've not met her.
Former Senate President Juan Ponce. Always a pleasure to see you, sir. And it's nice. It's nice that you're still looking very healthy and well.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Salamat.
Sir, maraming salamat po sa inyo.
Pinky, salamat sa iyo. And regards to your
my parents.
dad and mom.
Thank you, sir. At mamaya naman sa Newsnight, alas 7 ng gabi, makakapanayam ng aming chief correspondent na si Pia Ontiveros, si Kit Tatad. Si Tatad ang Public Information Minister noong panahon ni dating Pangulong Ferdinand Marcos nang ideklara niya ang martial law. At